Hey everyone, welcome back to Galaxy Mega Builds. For over 30 years inside a massive climate-controlled dome in Southern California, a crew of 300 workers operated under a strict oath of secrecy. Their sole job was to maintain a single machine. The owner spent $1 million every year keeping the engines perfectly pristine and the hydraulic lines fully primed. Yet the hangar doors remained completely shut. Locked inside was an aircraft with a wingspan longer than an American football field. It sat fully fueled, waiting for a flight it would never take. The largest aircraft in human history was guarded like a classified military asset, held prisoner by the relentless obsession of the man who built it. The origin of this machine traces back to the Atlantic Ocean in 1942. German U-boats were operating in packs, systematically hunting down Allied supply lines. In May and June of that year alone, submarines sank 292 merchant and cargo ships. That is an attrition rate of nearly 5 vessels lost to the ocean every single day. To bypass the water entirely, the US War Department entertained a radical engineering proposal: a flying cargo ship capable of lifting 750 fully equipped troops or 2 30-ton M4 Sherman tanks across the ocean. Because aluminum and steel were severely restricted for the war effort, the aircraft had to be constructed from non-strategic materials. Shipbuilder Henry Kaiser teamed up with eccentric aviator and filmmaker Howard Hughes to build the Leviathan out of wood. The pressure of the war created an unconventional partnership between a massive shipbuilder and a Hollywood director, tasking them with building the largest aircraft ever conceived, out of a material usually reserved for furniture. To lift those payloads, the H-4 Hercules required a staggering footprint. The empty airframe alone weighed 300,000 pounds and the fuselage stood 5 stories tall. This diagram overlaying the Hercules against modern heavy transports shows its sheer width. The wingspan stretched 320 feet to 11 inches, a record unbroken until 2019. To build this without metal, the team relied on Duramold. Thin birch veneers were crisscrossed, layered, and resin bonded under intense heat. This chart visualizes why. A Duramold cylinder withstands 80% more load than an equal weight aluminum cylinder. The sheer size of the components created severe logistical bottlenecks. The parts were so massive that standard workbenches were useless. Engineers had to mount film projectors to the ceiling just to cast up blueprints down onto the factory floor. The wooden ailerons alone were 140 feet long. Because no pilot had the physical strength to manipulate control surfaces that large, Hughes invented the world's first hydraulically actuated flight control system. To get this massive wooden ship off the ground, the team invented new systems to overcome the limits of natural materials and human muscle. But the project suffered from a terminal vulnerability. Howard Hughes was an obsessive perfectionist who demanded personal oversight of the smallest mechanical details, bringing the massive wartime assembly line to a crawl. Frustrated by the endless delays, Henry Kaiser completely abandoned the collaboration in 1944. Hughes was left to manage the gargantuan project entirely on his own. By the time the airframe was even ready for testing, World War II had ended. The strategic need for a wooden transport vanished, but Hughes refused to stop, eventually sinking $23 million into the Hercules. In August 1947, a Senate committee hauled Hughes in, demanding to know why immense government funds were wasted on an aircraft that never flew. Defending himself under oath, Hughes made a severe public vow. He stated that his entire reputation was staked on the Hercules, and if it failed, he would leave the country and never return. Hughes was effectively building a multi-million-dollar monument to his own reputation, even as the strategic military window for the aircraft had closed. On November 2, 1947, Hughes took the completed aircraft out onto the waters of Long Beach Harbor. Officially, the day was scheduled for nothing more than a series of high-speed taxi tests. Hundreds of spectators, journalists, and industry skeptics lined the beaches to watch. Inside the cockpit, Hughes took manual control of the 8 radial engines. On the final run of the day, Hughes unexpectedly pushed all 8 throttles forward. The massive hull churned it into the ocean, broke the surface tension, and actually lifted it into the air. The heavy transport traveled just under 1 mile. It reached an altitude of 70 feet, and the entire flight lasted exactly 26 seconds. Those 26 seconds silenced the critics and proved the engineering was sound. But by satisfying Hughes' personal pride, the brief flight also sealed the aircraft's fate. Having physically proven his critics wrong on a global stage, Howard Hughes never attempted to fly the Spruce Goose again. The massive wooden ship was immediately towed back into a hangar. A rotating crew was hired to keep the engines perfectly oiled and the interior meticulously preserved, guarding a captive leviathan for the next 3 decades. What began as an ambitious industrial response to a global war quietly devolved into a private, expensive obsession maintained by a man who was slowly fading into reclusion. The aircraft functioned as a massive test bed for several industry firsts, specifically proving that high-pressure hydraulic systems could successfully move the control surfaces of an extreme-scale airframe. But as the pristine wooden giant sits preserved in a museum today, it leaves a lingering question. Did Hughes lock the Spruce Goose away to eternally protect his 26-second triumph? Or did he secretly know his wooden monument was incapable of surviving the sky? Thank you for watching Galaxy Mega Builds.